Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Kuma here bringing you another Call of Duty video. And today in this video, we are going to be talking about Omni movement and how to master it so you're getting the most out of your movement in BO6. So with that being said, I'm going to put timestamps up for people who are trying to learn individual parts or just already understand some mechanics but not others. So before we get into this as well, I do want to say that if you are trying to be flashy with Omni movement, this guide is not going to show you how to be flashy. However, it will give you the base, so off of this, you can then learn to be flashy. Because without the base, it doesn't matter, you're going to be bad. So, I hope you guys do enjoy this type of content, and if you do, please leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, let's hop right on into it. So this section will be focused on directional slides and dives. So these are kind of the two biggies when it comes to Omni movement, at least in my opinion. But the dives is what we're going to start with because they're probably the thing that people are least comfortable with. At least that's what I've seen because I've been seeing people doing some wicked diving plays that I just have me scratching my head at the at what people are doing. So with that being said, using these dives to basically like peek through corners, kind of like this door, like just peeking that angle, right? Peeking across while staying safe. So you don't want to be using this just to like swing an angle that you're going to take the gunfight on. You want to use it for information is what I like to use it for, most often at least. Or to escape a situation that is not good, that you are going to be put in a gunfight that is not in your favor. Because that is pretty much the name of the game right now, is using these movement mechanics, these new movement mechanics that come with Omni movement to get yourself more information so you are then able to, take your next gunfight more confidently and with more ease. So the next one that I want to talk about is using it to peek with your teammates. So if there is two of you that are swinging an angle, or three of you that are swinging an angle, or whatever, then you want to use this to. Okay. You want to use this to throw off the aim, so that way either you are gonna get the kill or your teammate's gonna get the trade and get you a nice trade out, which is pretty much just as good in a lot of cases. So, also, yeah, using it when you have stunned an enemy or you know that this enemy has to reload. Use this dive to peek them, throw off their aim, so that way they won't be really aiming for center mass, because a lot of people stop aiming at center mass when they decide to reload, or when they're stunned. It's going to throw off their aim, and even if they're stunned, if they're center mass, they're not going to be able to keep up with the speed of that dive because their camera will not be able to move as quickly. So that was when you should be using it, but there is also situations where you definitely should not be using it. And some of those are when you're peeking multiple enemies at once, because you cannot move. You are stuck in that laying down position after you dive, and that can be a very vulnerable position that you don't want to put yourself into. Peeking an angle when you're already weak, that's another one. Don't be using this when you're already weak, unless you are like in a like super bad situation, you're weak, and maybe as a last resort, but you're not gonna pull off that kill a lot of the time if you're doing that while you're already weak. So just I just don't think it's I just don't know if it's worth like I don't think it's really worth it to try. When you're already in a close range gunfight, don't use this to try and throw off their aim, because more likely than not, you're just gonna throw off your own aim and you're just gonna miss all your shots after, and then you're gonna be in a bad situation. Another spot where I think using it is good is when you're above somebody and you're trying to peek somebody who is below you, who like is on a literal lower level than you, because it does throw off their aim. They have to now then look over themselves. They have to kind of do that, and it's just it gives you an advantage because it gives them a hard angle to take that gunfight on. And it's an uncomfortable angle for a lot of people unless they have been, you know, like grinding the shit out of Omni movement. Yeah, what is with people having shit mics in my games recently? Now let's move on to slides. As you guys know, the slides should not be used like sliding in other Call of Duty games. That is something that I've noticed very quickly, is if you are sliding forward like this quite often, then like into gunfights, then you are going to be losing those gunfights. You want to be doing these like horizontal slides, so you're sliding side to side instead of forward and backwards. It should give you kind of like a strafing, like a slide strafing effect that should help you win a lot of gunfights. Whether that's a close range gunfight or it's a long range gunfight, shouldn't really matter. You should just be winning a lot more of those if you're using this mechanic correctly, because you should be using this in probably 80 to 90% of your gunfights. You should be sliding. It's probably the best way to take a gunfight, is to slide out of wherever you are and slide into wherever they are to then take that gunfight. It should give you a lot better of an advantage, and that is what this entire video is about giving you that advantage while you are playing this game. Oh, what the fuck? That kid's behind me. So when you should be using this, like I said, in 90% of circumstances, you should be sliding at your enemies. It is just the best way to do it. Um, Getting out of situations where you're in a vulnerable place on the map, so just traversing the map in general, right? There's a lot of vulnerable areas on a lot of these maps, especially in the beta so far. I have no idea what the other ones are going to be like, but yeah, in the beta for sure. There's a lot of vulnerable places on these maps where you can just get shot at from pretty much just like butt fuck nowhere. What the fuck? I swear to God, I hit that kid in the head like 8 times. Anyways, yeah. And situations where you are fighting like one or more people is another time that I think using this is probably a good idea. Holy fuck, I'm getting beamed all of a sudden. But yeah, using that when you're taking one or more people, right? You get a kill, and then you slide, and then you fight the next one. Just using it to again throw off people's aim and give you that extreme advantage that we look for while we're taking a lot of gunfights. Oh, what the fuck? Why is that kid behind me? And where'd that other kid go? That kid just like disappeared. Anyways, when not to use this during gunfights, you would try, like when you're trying to disengage from a gunfight, and you're trying to run away, I do not recommend trying to slide away. I recommend trying to dive away, because although like diving away does like kind of give you like a momentary movement disadvantage, it does get you out of there quicker than say sliding does. So I recommend diving out of these situations. It throws off people's aim, and it just does a lot more than what a slide would do. So I recommend diving out of these situations where you're trying to disengage and you're in an unfavorable gunfight. Just try and dive instead of sliding. At least that is what I would do. Um, but yeah. What the fuck? That kid is actually laying there like that. I couldn't see him. He like blended in. So yeah, when you're trying to disengage a gunfight, or when you're taking a gunfight you already have little chance of winning, you need to try and throw off the enemy as much as you can. So using a slide probably is not the best way to do that, at least in my experience. Also, why is that kid holding his dick? Holding his teammate's dick like that? That's kind of weird, but whatever. Yeah, no, just using it in situations where you already looks like you have a lower chance of winning your gunfight, you should be trying to throw off the enemy as much as you can, and sliding is just not going to do that in most circumstances. So I recommend doing something completely different. Now, the next thing is learning that all of these situations that I'm giving to you guys are all, you know, situational. You have to be able to adapt on the fly in your game. If you notice that one specific player is doing one thing, then maybe take that engagement with that player differently, right? Like that, you do have to be able to adapt. These are just general rules of thumb that should help you win more gunfights. However, they do not apply to every player because every player is different. So every game you get into, you will be playing against different types of players. So you do have to be able to adapt and move on the fly to, obviously get the benefits of this guide. So, with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and understanding Omni movement in hopefully an entirely new way that will help you become better at BO6, because this game is a game where people who want to be good are going to get good, and people who just don't really care are just going to stay at the skill level they're at. That is what Omni movement is going to do. So yeah, like I said, if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, and yeah. Peace.